The defending Sunshine Double champions Ashleigh Barty and Bianca Andreescu are into the first premier mandatory final of the season in Miami. Will Barty successfully defend her title, or will Bibi add yet another big tournament victory under her belt? I'll preview this match and ultimately give my prediction here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today. Comparing these two women, they've actually never played before on tour. World number 1 Barty thus far has claimed 6 more titles than the Canadian and is riding an 11-match win streak in Miami, being 14-12 overall at the event. Bibi also has a good record, going 8-1 in Miami. The year to date for these women is also very similar, but the big discrepancy is time spent on court. Bibi, with nearly every match being over 2 hours, has spent almost 3 hours more on court than the Australian. Ash began her title defense against Kristina Kuhova, battling past jet lag and a match point to come out on top 7-5 in the third. Her next match was much easier, dominating Jelena Ostapenko 3-2. Next, she played another slam champ in Victoria Azarenka, upending the Belarusian 6-1, 1-6, 6-2. In the quarters, she played Azarenka's countrywoman Aryna Sabalenka, coming out on top 6-4, 6-7, 6-3. In the semis, however, she had another straightforward match, beating Alina Svitolina 3-3. Andreescu played her first match against qualifier Martinkova, saving set points in the first, ultimately winning 7-6, 6-2. Next, she played 28 seed Amanda Anisimova, winning that battle 7-6, 6-7, 6-4. In the round of 16, she pulled off the comeback victory over Dubai champion Garbine Muguruza, winning 3-6, 6-3, 6-2. In the quarters versus Sorribes Tormo, she grounded to a 6-4, 3-6, 6-3 victory. Then, of course, in her latest match against Sakari, she overcame numerous deficits to win 7-6, 3-6, 7-6. Getting straight into the keys to the match, starting with Barty, she needs to look to dictate with her forehand. She can honestly hit all spots from the forehand wing, and it really opens the court up for her as it gets her opponents on the move. Her most lethal forehand is that forehand cross, which really gets her opponents pulled wide, and I think it would be a good shot to test Andreescu's legs, and it also favor Barty over Bibi in those forehand-to-forehand exchanges. The second point I have is to take advantage of all opportunities and leads. There's no denying that Bianca is extremely clutch as she's come back from deficits in all of her matches. While giving her credit because she did elevate her play, her opponents dropped a bit and Barty cannot do this at all in this final. Next, Ash should keep using her trademark variety and skill to outcraft the Canadian. Bianca likes to be in control, and this for the most part comes in baseline exchanges. However, as Sue Shea exposed, Andreescu has more trouble when opponents switch it up and use slices or drop shots themselves. Thus, it's something that Barty should implement. My last point is that Ash should look to move forward when possible. This kind of plays into the previous point as it prevents Bianca from teeing off from the baseline and gets her out of her comfort zone. Also, Muguruza was very successful when doing this and coming forward and really taking the ball on the rise and looking to take swinging volleys and whatsoever. But she stopped this a bit, which allowed Bianca back into the match. Now, for Bianca to be successful, she must also be aggressive herself. In that Muguruza match, Garbine for the first set and a half, as I mentioned previously, was dictating while Bianca was on the defensive. Now, when Andreescu adopted a more aggressive court positioning and looked to move forward herself, she turned the tide. This is also important because while she can do it, she doesn't need to be in those long exchanges with Barty, especially with the constant ailments we see from her in those matches. Second, Bianca needs to be solid on her serve throughout this match. Bianca's serve is decent for the most part, but it is prone to falling apart a bit, as she is prone to throwing in uncharacteristic double faults at times, as we saw against Sakari. Also, in her quarterfinal match against Sorribes Tormo, she didn't hold serve at all in the second set, winning just 29% of first serve points in that set. This could not happen against Barty, who unlike Sorribes Tormo has a decent serve and will look to hold more often. Next, I believe that Bianca should incorporate the drop shot more in this match. Barty has good speed, but Kuhova used his shot notably well in their close encounter in that opening round match. Also, Andreescu has been successful with that shot, even against a fast Sakari. Finally, Bianca should aim to hit with depth and pace to the Barty backhand. People know that Barty's backhand is the weaker of the two wings, but when the Australian has time, she can be kind of effective with that backhand shot. However, when opponents do go after that wing with pace and depth, there's notably a different story. This matchup is interesting because both players have so many different shots in their repertoire. Ultimately, I think whoever is dictating primarily will be victorious in the long run, as at this level, matches are hardly won from simply being passive. Looking at outside factors, a big question is whether Andreescu will be at a significant disadvantage playing those more grueling matches than Barty. Additionally, all of her matches have been played in the afternoon or at night, whereas Barty will be much more acclimated playing all of her matches during the day. This final will be played at 1 p.m. Eastern time, so the conditions will be different for the 8th seed. As far as Bianca being tired, I ultimately think that she'll be fine. We've been down in her conditioning and health all tournament, as a lot of times she looks in distress, being bent over, just looking really tired, but ultimately she comes out on top and she plays and moves just fine, competes just fine, so I don't think that that would be a huge factor in this match. I think that of course she'll have those times where she's tired and looking in distress, but I think that that's mostly just dramatics at the end of the day, and she will be fine. It's not a big, I don't think it will be as a big factor as people are riding it on. So I think the actual playing conditions are surely in Barty's favor, which is why I see her getting a good start and taking the first set, as she is used to the heat and humidity, which will help a lot. Now we know that Bianca won't go down without a fight, and I feel that should she go down the deficit, she'll problem solve and make use of an opportunity wherever that may be. She also is notorious for playing things to her tempo and taking advantage of the momentum, and I can surely see her taking control of the match and subduing Barty a bit, because Bianca's presence is pretty large. I feel that if Ash is going to win this match, it needs to be in straight sets. Both players are clutch, but I think that Bianca is clutcher, and I actually don't see her losing this match if it does go the distance. She also has slightly more experience this week in those tight moments than Barty. Though Barty has improved in this aspect, she has had periods of going away, like against Karolina Muchova in the Australian Open quarterfinals. Of course, with the different conditions, we might see a different, more demonstrative Andreescu, but I think the 20-year-old's fighting instincts will get her through. Thus, I'm picking Bianca to win this one in 3 sets. After their semifinal victories, both Barty and Andreescu spoke highly of one another in anticipation of this match. Bianca has shown in big tournaments that she's got the ability to beat the very best, and I know from the little that I've seen that she's got a way of moving around the court that's extremely physical, Barty said. She's got great hands, and she's got options off both sides. She's got a chisel off both sides, and has the ability to flip the ball up or hit through the court. I think it's what makes her game exceptionally challenging, is that she has so many different assets and so many different things that she can go to, ultimately let her competitor and her figure it out. It's going to be great. Definitely have wanted to play her, Andreescu said. I have my chance on Saturday. I know it's going to be really tough. She's playing great tennis. I hope I can be on my A game. That's all for this preview, and let me know whether you agree that Andreescu will take the crown or if Barty will continue her key best game dominance in the comment section below. Also, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I make my post-match analysis of this final. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Grand Slam Tennis News Today.